So the Splitgate 2 open beta is now available on Steam, and I tried, like many others, to play the game early, just after it had been up and running for about a day. But the servers were then taken down, as most of you know by now, and when they finally went up again, there was still problems with bugs and the fact that the XP in the game didn't work as intended, which meant that me and many others was playing the game for hours without unlocking anything. Not the start that neither the devs, meaning 1047 Games, or the players wanted. Since a day or two before I made this video, XP finally started to work again, and they also added some double XP to compensate the loss of former XP to a certain extent. The problem though is that some of the early birds managed to get a lead over others in a way when it comes to unlocking guns and attachments before the servers were taken down. With that said, the shaky premiere of the open beta is now over, and hopefully the developers can now continue their work when it comes to improving their game. I believe though that the shaky start did turn some potential players away already from the game, since the first impression is really important. According to Steam charts though, there's about the same amount of players still playing the game as it was about a week ago when the beta was released, meaning a peak around 12k players. I played quite some when it comes to the first game in Splitgate 1, a game that I enjoyed foremost due to its snappy gunplay and movement, alongside with the portal system, especially since I'm someone that played a lot of Halo back in the days and also older arena shooters such as Unreal Tournament. Splitgate 1 was more like the original Halo games, no classes, so you started off with the same guns, then fighting for the power weapons that was situated on the map, such as a sniper or a rocket launcher as an example. I like this formula since it's an easier concept to balance as a developer, not having to deal with multiple classes, weapons and attachments, and definitely not abilities, which we're getting to in a moment. But these kind of old school arena shooters, if you will, gives everyone the same conditions or starting points. Whether you have played the game for like 1 day or 2 weeks, it all comes down to gun skills such as good aim, managing the movement, and the knowledge of how to use the portals. In Splitgate 2, the developers has chosen to walk a different path that maybe many younger generations of gamers are more used to nowadays. Classes, weapons that are bound to these specific classes, attachments, but also hero abilities such as wall hack, speed boost, a deployable shield, etc. I can tell already now that there's some problems they will face when it comes to balance out these classes and abilities. Not to mention also certain weapons that will become or already has become meta in the game. On top of that, the guns are also locked behind progression, so yes, you'll have a clear advantage if you play the game for 2 weeks instead of 1 day, as mentioned before when it comes to the comparison with the first Splitgate game. But is this choice of design necessarily a bad thing? I would say no, to a certain degree, from a selling point at least, when it comes to attracting more players into the game, since it might appeal to a broader audience, even if the general concept of an arena shooter is still quite niche and small compared to, let's say, an extraction shooter in 2025. But by making classes and adding attachments and abilities, the chances are that players that has a background of playing more casual shooters, such as Call of Duty as an example, might feel a bit more like home and can therefore appreciate the game more compared to what we had in Splitgate 1. But at the same time, I can't help feeling that Splitgate 2 feels a bit more mid or even generic compared to what I felt and experienced when playing the first game. The sequel having this new approach and design will also put it up against more games, more shooters in the FPS genre with similar design and concept. One of the major things for me when it comes to my experience as far in the Splitgate 2 beta is the gunplay. The gunplay in Splitgate 2 doesn't feel as rewarding either as it did in the first game, and that might have to do with how the guns are responding back to the players when you're actually shooting, when it comes to both sound design and mix. Yes, we're getting into things that are on the negative side of things in the beta according to me. I therefore straight away have to mention the big team mode, which is a nice addition to the game, but man, these maps are huge or big. The problem here as I see it is that you often have to run or portal your way quite far before getting into the action once more after you've died and you're spawning onto the map again. It kind of slows down the pacing of the gameplay a bit too much in my opinion. This is something I talked about already in the alpha, and one solution is of course to look through these maps and see if all the outskirt areas of the maps are really that necessary. Or simply add another team, which means more players in this big team mode. Just a thought. The gameplay pacing in Splitgate 2 does sometimes suffer, especially due to the round-based TDM mode. I don't like that, and if they want to keep that mode, then please just add a normal TDM mode as well, without these breaks, since I'm sure other players would appreciate it as well. Another thing that I want to mention is the fact that the store is already open in the beta, meaning the monetization is in place. I might have slept under a stone recently when it comes to how other games that is about to be released are doing this, but I can't help feeling that it feels a bit greedy almost to start selling stuff already during a beta, meaning before the actual launch of the game, especially due to all the issues and problems that the game and the players has encountered early in the start of the beta. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments. I also hope that they continue to improve the settings also for PC regarding mouse and keyboard, since the Splitgate 2 is a more fast-paced game from what I feel compared to the first one. Because we need good input settings, raw input settings for mouse controls, since the mouse acceleration can feel a bit overtuned in this game. As a matter of fact, this was written in one of the mixed reviews on Steam, and I do agree. There's also seemed to be some bugs preventing me, for example, to cap my FPS in the game. I have to redo that every time, or it doesn't really work as intended. Well, it's a beta, yes, but these things are extremely important, especially for PC players. The portals was a topic of discussion already in the first game. Are there too many places where you can use them, or should there be more? For me, it feels as if the possibility to use the portals has been a bit toned down, meaning less surfaces to use them. Which I believe is a pity, since it was a big part of the strategy and also the map design, and therefore also the gameplay and how you played in Splitgate 1. I know that some might disagree here, believing that there are too many surfaces to apply these portals in Splitgate 2. The map design overall in Splitgate 2 so far is decent at least, although some maps play simply better with certain game modes, which is expected. Personally, I believe that Splitgate 2 is the most fun when playing, for example, a classic Halo mode such as Oddball, which is called Splitball in Splitgate 2. I believe there's a gameplay in the beginning of the video when I'm playing Splitball, also enjoyed that map. In addition to existing maps, another good feature in the game is the map creator, where you as a player can contribute to the game and the community when it comes to designing your maps. Not sure though how hard it is to do just that. Guess I'll leave that to other players that are more into it. But I'm looking forward to see what will come out of it. So is Splitgate 2, when it comes to the beta at least so far, is it good or is it bad? It's not bad at all. This is a decent or a good game, and I think it's worth trying out. Again, it's free to play, so I think you should do just that and see for yourself what you think about it. For someone like me, as described earlier, coming from a background also playing the first game, I have to be honest to say that it feels a bit of a regression from the experiences I've had playing the first game. But even so, I've had some good moments here in Splitgate 2 when it comes to the beta so far. And I do look forward to see what's going to happen with the game. It's quite important right now that the game continues to improve and that it's able also to reach a broader audience, because as said, the player count right now isn't anything crazy. So for the sake of the players that do enjoy this game and also 1047 games, I really hope that it will do well and not meet the same kind of fate that happened with Splitgate 1. Again, that is a combination of many things that I'm not going into here. But with that said, thanks a lot for watching when it comes to this video. And of course, let me know in the comments your thoughts and everything, what you feel about the game so far and what hopes you have for the future regarding Splitgate 2. With that said, take care now, have a beautiful day, and talk to you later. Bye.
We've taken the lead. Keep it up.